Hey, this is Professor Game, where we interview successful practitioners of games, gamification, and game thinking to help us multiply engagement and loyalty. I'm Rob Alvarez. I'm a consultant, I'm a coach, and I'm the founder here at Professor Game. And I'm also a professor of gamification and game-inspired solutions at IE University, IE Business School, EFMD, EBS University, and other places around the world. And before we dive into the interview, if you're struggling with engagement in your business and are looking to find out how to make your users stay with you, you will find our free community full of resources quite useful. You can find it for free in the links below in the description. So engagers, welcome back to another episode of the Professor Game podcast. And we have Mark with us today. So Mark, we need to know, are you prepared to engage?
Oh my God, I'm prepared to engage all the time, man. You have no idea who you're talking to here.
Let's do this. We have Mark Corona, a national trivia host, high energy speaker, and the founder of his own country. Known for engaging audiences with interactive trivia and unforgettable experiences, he blends entertainment with business insights to engage and retain. So, Mark, is there anything you want to add, or should we dive into what does creating your own country
listen,
mean?
dive into it. I think you started off on the right foot. You did your homework. I love it. So, yeah, no, we're good to go, man.
What do you mean you founded your own country? I'm sure the engagers are curious now.
So it's the first question I get asked, no matter what we talk about. The first question: what the heck is this country you found? Founded in my own country. It's called Slowjamistan. It's a micronation, really. It's located about 90 minutes south of Palm Springs, California. And it's surrounded by the imperialist Americans. And our country is basically, it's a satirical country, really, what it is. And it is a real place. It is a real place. Our number one law when it comes to Slowjamistan is we do not allow Crocs in Slowjamistan. That's our number one law. And I'm the chief border patrol agent of the country, and we have a sultan. I'm the chief border patrol agent. My job is to make sure that I keep Croc violators and Croc cartels and smugglers out of Slowjamistan. If I catch you, I will forcibly remove it and beat you over the head with it, which is fun for us, not fun for you. But you know the Croc, right? The Croc shoe, that ugly Swiss cheese-looking shoe. Yeah, we don't allow that. I don't even know why they're made. But yeah, we're having to fight for your rights every single day to not have to wear Crocs. It's a tough job that I have as a chief border patrol agent. Now, I usually have a different outfit for my chief border patrol agent, but since we're talking about gaming here today, I had to put on my national trivia show host suit. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell what Slowjamistan is all about. There's a lot more to it, but that's the most famous stuff that we're known for is the Crocs.
You mentioned the Crocs, and I have a few I've been looking into what's good for your feet for many different reasons. My daughter, my own feet, etc. But I found that medical professionals, right, tend to wear Crocs for their work. You say, well, they're easy to take on and off.
We're going to cut this interview off right now. They're talking about Crocs. Yeah, we're done. Professor, you're riding on thin ice here, my friend.
That's exactly what I mean, because how come that the latest recommendations say do not wear Crocs, and these healthcare professionals are wearing them in the job? Like, they're the worst thing for your feet. Like, I just don't get it. And I'm talking doctors, nurses, but physical therapists who tend to be exactly into that movement and that kind of stuff. I just don't get it. I actually asked somebody, and she told me, like, I actually don't know, but they always, if you don't have your own Crocs, they give you Crocs for work. So what is going on?
The bad part is they're slippery as well. So why would you use them in the medical profession when you have slippery...
And your feet move inside, so you don't have solid grasp. Absolutely. And your feet are struggling to grab something in there.
No, I don't know. I've never worn them, but I heard that. But yeah, I would hate to wear them and slip or fall especially with a scalpel knife or something. It's like, dude, all of a sudden you're pretty much knocking out your own neck there. It's a terrible situation to be in.
I just don't get it.
Trust me. We're in the same boat.
Anyways, let's actually dive into a regular day. I mean, of course, you can talk about your border patrol. You can talk about your show. What do your days actually look like? If we were to shadow you for, I don't know, a day, a week, a month, whatever you want to go for, what would that look like?
So, every day is exactly like that. We're going to be doing, I'm building games, first of all, for the National Trivia game. So I'm in my studio right now. This is the studio where I record the actual game. So there's a camera right over there in front of me. There's microphones above me. And this is where I go on. Because I go on as being the national host the game has me on the TV screens. So I record these portions here, then we do the audio portions, and I go back into the other studio that I have, and I start doing all the all the editing. Sorry, excuse me, I just got over being sick, so I apologize. Anyway, and as a Border Patrol agent, I have a Border Patrol truck that I roll around in all over town. And of course, with the times that we live in right now, people are like, oh my gosh, is Border Patrol? What is Border Patrol doing in Phoenix, Arizona? Because normally there's not Border Patrol agents anywhere near Phoenix. It's usually by the border towns. So people see my truck and it gets pictures and videos all the time. But that's what I do on a daily basis. If I'm not recording games and editing games for the National Trivia Show, I'm rolling around in my Border Patrol truck and just basically having fun.
Looking for people on Crocs.
Questions about Slowjamistan. What's that?
Looking for people on Crocs.
And looking for people wearing Crocs, too. I will be at a grocery store, and if I see somebody with a Croc and they see my truck, they're like, no, sometimes people don't get it, that it's a fake Border Patrol truck because it looks so real. And they'll be like, thank you for your service. And so I'll turn around and go, hey, you're welcome. As long as you're not wearing Crocs, you're safe, my friend. And dude, they just laugh and smirk like they're like, that's funny, but I don't know what he's talking about. I can see that they don't know what I'm talking about. But yet they laugh, I think, just out of courtesy. You know what I mean? They're like
courtesy and maybe a bit of a scare too,
or maybe that as well. I was at a Target yesterday, and the guy looking at the truck, he's just staring at it. He's like, "Wait a minute, hang on, what does that say?" And I said, and we speak in accent in Slowjamistan. So when I'm in my uniform, I talk like this when I'm in my uniform because that is the accent of Slowjamistan. You have to have a Slowjamistani accent. So when the guy asks me, "What does your truck say?" I said to my friend, it says Border Patrol. He goes, what is the Border Patrol? We switched the P's and the B's. And that's how we got the, instead of Border Patrol, we switched it to Border Patrol because the U.S. apparently already had a patent on it. So
makes
that's
sense.
My day, my friend.
Awesome.
That's my day. Listen, being me is a lot of fun, dude. Trust me.
Sounds like it. And talking about games and creating games for things that go perhaps even beyond entertainment, what has been one of those experiences where, things just didn't work out? You're designing games, you're creating games, sometimes they rise, sometimes they fall. Can we go for one of those fall or fail or first attempts at learning stories? We want to be there with you, take away some of those lessons or see how you came out of that fail moment.
In the way that we do gaming, we have a trivia show. And we're the only ones in the world that are doing trivia the way we do it. It's like a television show, basically. And we distribute this to bars and restaurants all over the country. One of the things that we've experienced, some negative things, some downfalls, has been when a location is ready to get started and you've got, 50, 70 people there ready to play a game, all excited, ready to go, and boom, black screens. Nothing happens. And you're sitting there going, what do I do now? And I've been in that tense situation because you want the game to go and you're like, oh my gosh, what is it? Dude, it could be 1,000 different things. There's cables running everywhere. It can be so many things to try and get the game going. So we've been in situations like that where you have to think on your feet and go, okay, what do you do at this point? So now we're restarting the systems. We're trying to log back in, get things going. So we've experienced things like that before. And I'll tell you, it gets tense every single time because you want your games to be spectacular. You want people to have such a great time. And the last thing you want is any kind of glitch to happen during, a gaming moment. But unfortunately, sometimes it does happen. And the fastest way to get out is do everything that you can. If that's restarting the system, if that's logging back in, whatever you have to do, simply do what you need to and don't panic. Don't show the people that you're panicking. Simply do the job as best as you can. In some cases, I had to just go live, grab a microphone and just start live and see what happens until we can get the thing going. So like I said, it gets really tense sometimes, man. I'll panic internally, but I make sure that externally I have a big smile on my face. Yeah, give me a few minutes, guys. We're almost there, And then, inside I'm like, God damn it, son of a, what do I do? Kind of like when, I know nobody saw this, but when you and I were trying to get this interview going this morning, I couldn't get my earbuds going. And I was already panicking, like, we got to get the damn earbuds going. Let me restart my computer. And now we're here with smiles on our faces and, no one has any idea what was happening behind the scenes. So it's almost the same thing.
Happens in many ways. So, Mark, is there, I don't know, because this seems to have happened more than once, right? So now that it's happened, now that you know, quote unquote, how to fix it, or not really, because there's oftentimes it's out of your control, but Do you do something differently? Do you have some sort of different preparation? Do you have plan B? What has that meant for your practice nowadays after having gone through this situation?
So now we do. Now we have processes in place. So when those things do happen, we have a tech support that's now with us at all times. And it's really our own company, but we didn't have that available to us before. It was basically figure it out as you go. If this happens to you in the moment, you got to figure it out as you go. At least now, I can make a call and go, hey man, all right, so this isn't working. What can we look at? And now at least somebody's at the control and now looking and going, okay, let me help you out with this. And they can log in and do any restarts they need to do. They can look at code to see if there's something there that's going wrong. So now that process, I feel a lot safer and I feel a lot better about when, if we have a system go down or something, I know I've got backup and I know that we can physically go in and look to see if something, or at least find out where the problem is at and fix it. So now some of our fixes will take maybe a couple of minutes, where before I may have wasted, 10, 15 minutes trying to get something going on my own. But now that we have a process in place, many times it's really minuscule.
Sounds amazing. So, Mark, actually, let's turn it around and talk about a time when things went exactly your way, or, for whatever reason, it was a massive hit, a success. What did that look like? Maybe what are some of the success factors that you saw got you there?
So I'm not really sure how to answer that question, because without sounding, I guess, egotistical, because I don't want to sound this way, but I want to give a fact. The fact is, when things go well, things have gone spectacularly well. When people play our game, they have so much fun. It's so exciting. There's so much energy in the room. This is 99.9% of the time we have successful games. So, of course, it's not to say we never have problems, right? Because we obviously do. We just talked about that. But for the most part, a successful game every day is just excitement, energy, people loving it, can't wait to come back and play again, whether they're playing at a bar and restaurant or whether they're playing at a corporate event. People just have a really, really good time, and we get so much great feedback from our game. So I'm proud of what we have built, because we're the only ones in the world doing this. We're the only ones. We created this concept, and we didn't know how it was going to turn out. So we have created such a great product that I'm proud of what this product has turned out to be, and the way that it makes people feel. So every day really is more successful than not.
That sounds absolutely amazing. But Mark, can you, because you've mentioned they use it bars and restaurants and also in corporate settings. Perhaps in corporate settings, what are the kinds of uses that your games have? Are they just to get people in the room? Are they to make people laugh? Or do you achieve some sort of other objectives when your games are played in those kind of settings?
It's all of the above. It's about having fun. It's about bringing people into the bars and restaurants. But for the corporate events, on the other hand, it's a little bit different. It's definitely about having fun, but it's also about retention. I used to look at our trivia game as just a game, as just something you were having fun with. There was a lot of energy and excitement, music playing in the background, top 40 hits, a high energy host like myself, But I realized that it's more than just entertainment. It's a retention tool. It's a way to foster community. It's a way to get, for example, in a corporate setting, it's a way to get the IT department to hang out with the receptionist and suddenly discover things about themselves that they didn't know, because in their regular corporate environment, they never really see each other. And if they do, it's in passing, like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? But when you're playing trivia, all of a sudden you're trying to work together to figure out questions and answers, and you're having drinks and food and a good time. So it really fosters that community. And when I say retention, this is how it retains employees for corporations, but it also creates an interaction between departments and employees that they normally would not have. And that's a huge, huge part of the business that I discovered outside of just entertainment.
Sounds amazing. And Mark, with all this experience, all this success, as you were mentioning before, that most of the times it actually works pretty well. People are super excited and super happy to work with you. If you were to either create it over again or help somebody else create it or use it for some other setting, do you have a process? How do you think about a solution like this when you have to create, again, a new game for something maybe new or help somebody else do it? Is there a system, a process, I don't know, how would you actually achieve that? Could you guide us through your thinking in that one?
Yeah, it's a good question. When we started doing this game, we were learning as we went. We had no idea what we were doing. We just had no clue what we were doing. We only knew what we knew at that moment, and we would apply whatever knowledge came to us or whatever we think that we discovered or we think that we figured it out. We would apply it and then see if it would work. And many times a lot of things failed. A lot of things did not work. There was a lot of stuff that we tried and it just wasn't working. I remember when we first did this game, like a television show, it was literally, had a solid background. The audio wasn't that great. We discovered that there was audio problems. I realized that I had to get a different kind of a camera. I realized that we had to record differently. There was a lot, we just had a lot of, issues at the beginning, but we figured it out every single time. We figured it out by feedback. We figured it out by going out and watching the game ourselves because it's all pre-recorded and just seeing what can we do? What are the issues here? So at the beginning, the process was really, really tough. But now, because we've been doing it for almost 8 years, now we're in a situation where it's just a simple process. If I had to go over to answer your question, if I had to go back and redo it again, I would certainly, I would love to say I'd love to get rid of that first part of the process, but how do you learn and how do you get here if you didn't have that first part of the process? Yeah. Now, if I could turn around and say, like you said, if I help somebody else with this, yeah, well, easy. Now I can say, take the process we have, super simple. All you have to do is A, B, and C. You don't have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all these other things. Now I can take it as a process and say, here's what we can do with it. Now I can help you, and I can help you cut about 90% of the issues that we had because we've discovered and learned all those things already. So now I'm going to give you the finished product and how to get into it because now now we know how to do this. So I'm saving you a lot of time. And now as they talk about it, I'm wondering like, hey, that might be a business idea right there. We might be able to give you this. We did all the work. We'll give it to you for X amount of dollars. There we go. I think I just discovered something on this interview, man.
Absolutely, for sure. And, eventually growth means that you don't work so much in the business, but on the business. And that might mean you not being the host of every single show, or even at some point, you not being the host. Imagine that. But again, that depends on that. It depends on what are your objectives. How do you see the company growing? I also know of huge, massively successful cases where they like to keep it small and simple, team of 5 people, and that's all they want to have. That's where they want to go. They don't want to go through other roughness that you also get when you scale to huge teams, or you have something like, I do this and I have, my McDonald's model. And everybody can open their own McDonald's in their own setting. So it is definitely depending on what you're aiming for. And Mark, again, with all this experience, is there any best practice that you can recommend to other people when thinking about game shows, perhaps?
And I'll say if it just applies to really everything in business, because it is business at the end of the day. One of the things that I will always tell people is, just when you think you want to give up, or just when you're getting to that point, hey, this isn't going to work, that's probably the point where it's going to work. And that's probably the point where you shouldn't stop. When you start having all the doubts, listen, we have doubts all the time. There's always going to be doubts, right? There's always going to be, you're trying to build your business, you're trying to get to a point and you think this isn't going anywhere, this isn't working, or this isn't, my best advice for that is, keep going until you are 100% solid, 1,000% solid that it is not going to work, that nobody really cares for it, right? With our product, we were realizing that people did care, people wanted it. At first, we had a lot of pushback, and we could have easily given up at first. We could have said, okay, maybe this is not a good idea. People aren't really receiving it as well as we thought that they were going to receive it. But as time went by, more people were getting used to the idea. And I think what really helped us out was when COVID hit. I think that's really what helped everything out, because now people are more used to being on like you and I are doing right now. They got used to being online. They got used to seeing this. So I think we just happened to be at the right time, really at the right place in a tragedy, unfortunately. But it was that moment that allowed us to keep going forward and then take the concept that wasn't working as well as we wanted it to work, and then just exploded and actually ended up working. But again,
and because you have been working on it already, like if you had started at that point, you probably didn't have the sufficient support, experience, and so on, and you'd probably not be in the same place as you are now.
Yeah, and 100% true. If we had given up before COVID, none of this would be here today. None of it. But we didn't give up. We just kept going. We used COVID as the to give us the time to really work on it without any feedback. Imagine that. Without any feedback. Now you really don't know if you have something that's worth even putting out there, because now you're really going at it alone to find out, are people going to love this? And when we got out of COVID, I guess maybe we got lucky, but people loved it. It is a great game. It's a fun game to play. Very exciting, very energetic.
Awesome. That sounds great. So, Mark, after hearing these questions, the discussion we've been having, is there anybody that you would be interested in hearing? Any future guest for the Professor Game podcast?
Is Shakira available?
Anyone you want answering these questions.
I'd love for her to be there. I don't have anyone other than some other game show host that I'd love to see a national or a famous game show host on your podcast. I mean, that would be fantastic. I wish I could give you some connection for it, but I unfortunately I don't have that. But outside of that, no, I don't know if there's anybody else that I would like to recommend to you. I mean, I'd love to, and I thought about it, believe me, and I was like, man, I just don't have anybody.
That sounds good. And how about a book? If you had to recommend a book, which one would it be and why?
Man, actually, God, I read a lot. I have several books. Have you heard of a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a great book. I still read that to this day. I've had that book for 2 years. I still read it. There's another one called Ego is the Enemy. Ego is the Enemy is a great book by Ryan Holiday. He's got a series of books, and I've got all of them. But that's actually one of my favorites. And I think Stillness is another one also by Ryan Holiday. But if you look the author Ryan Holiday, he's got some great books. Dr. Wayne Dyer is another one that I really like. So those are 3 books I truly enjoy. I've got many, but those are my go-to right there. It's Napoleon Hill, Ryan Holiday, Dr. Wayne Dyer, in that order.
Makes sense. Thanks for those recommendations. And in this world of game hosts and entertainment on these kinds of situations, what would you say is your superpower? That thing that you do better than most other people.
That I do better than most? Oh, man.
Better. You don't have to be literally the single best or the only one. Like,
sure.
When we talk about superpowers, Thor flies, Iron Man flies,
right?
Superman flies. It doesn't have to be 100% unique.
My superhero is Batman. He doesn't fly, but I like his realism. I think my superpower would be the fact that I can easily adapt and work with just about anybody. We work with a lot of different personalities, and that's, now that I think about it, that is my superpower. I'm able to adapt and work with different personalities, where most people will clash or find ways of not getting along, or, hey, I'd rather not work with that person. I'm the kind of person that first says, let me figure out how to work with that person. So that's my superpower. I'm really good at working with a lot of different personalities, where most people have a hard time with. So I think that's what's been part of my success, is that I can be pretty much almost anybody's friend.
Yeah. Sounds like something that can be very, very useful. And Mark, next, of course, to your game and games that you've developed, what would you say is your favorite game?
Just in general, or from the games that we've done ourselves?
I would say next to the games you've created, because of course they are your children. And now
right, exactly.
Taking from your children, that's going to be really hard. But perhaps outside of that, what would you say is your favorite game?
I've always liked, I don't know if this counts, because we can go either the traditional gaming as far as like getting your Nintendo out, in gaming, or we can talk about TV show games. So if I answer your question, for regular gaming on a controller, I'm old school. I like Super Mario. I'm a big Super Mario fan. So on the old school tip, I'm a Super Mario guy. But if we're going to talk gaming like on TV, I've always loved The Price is Right. It was one of my shows growing up, and one of the reasons that I wanted to be a game show host was from watching that show. But those like, if we're going to talk gaming, those are the 2 things that I like. I play Super Mario, dude, to this day, man.
I still have
the original Nintendo. The original Nintendo, and I play it on the original Nintendo.
Cool. There's actually a post by a friend, by Anjay. He says the framework is, what would Mario do? So it's, don't quote me on this one. I just quickly read it recently again, and it's something like, you either avoid it, destroy it, or eat it.
So I was going to go with eat it. That's funny, but avoid and destroy, you're right.
Avoid, destroy, or eat. Like, it's the 3 things that you do, at least in classical Mario. So, it could also be a framework of, if you start breaking it down and try to apply it to real life, it could be, it could be applied to so many, if not every single situation in life. Like, there's something happening. What do I do? Do I avoid it? Do I, I destroy it, or do I eat it to superpower, right? Like, what is this situation about?
I love that. I love that. That's great. Love that. Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Mark, this is your time now. Like, let us know where we can find more about you, your work, your games. I don't know if you have any final piece of advice or final words. This is essentially your mic.
Okay. For advice, I'd like to give more business advice than anything else. Like I said earlier, don't give up on what you're doing unless you find for 1,000% it's not going to work out. But every time you're going to get to that point where you think it's going to be, it's not going to go, you have your doubts, you got to keep going, and then you'll find that you were just there. But as far as where you can find me and what we do and the games and stuff like that, that would be my website. That's the easiest place to go. That is markcorona.com. And I tell people, Corona like the beer or Corona like the virus, and they still ask me how to spell it. I'm like, we just went through a virus. Do you not know how to spell Corona? Corona. So markcorona.com. That's the website. You'll find out more about me, the games, the live trivia stuff that we do. And if you live anywhere in the areas that we do these games, you can always come out and have fun and play them and really enjoy your time.
Sounds like something great to hang out with.
It is.
So, Mark, once again, thank you for being here, for sharing your experience, your knowledge, things that you've done, the good and the bad, of course. However, Mark and Engagers, as you know, at least for now and for today, it is time to say that it's game over. Hey, Engagers, and thank you for listening to the Professor Game podcast. And since you're interested in this world of creating motivation, engagement, loyalty using game-inspired solutions, how about you join us on our free online community at Professor Game on School? You can find the link right below in the description, but the main thing is to click there, join us. It's a platform called School. It's for free, and you'll find plenty of resources there. We'll be up to date with everything that we're doing, any opportunities that we might have for you. And of course, before you go on to your next mission, before you click continue, please remember to subscribe using your favorite podcast app and listen to the next episode of Professor Game. See you there.